Section 8.7 is on circles. Circumference and area of circles. A circle, just reading this right out of the book here, so follow along in your book. A circle is a set of all points in a plane that are the same distance from a given point. So you have a given point here, it's called the center. And all points on the circle are the same distance from the center. Are the same distance. Okay? When you name a circle, you name it by the center. For example, circle P means you have a circle revolved around point P. So that's why they put circle P as the name for that. The distance from the center point to the outside is the radius. So any distance from the center to the outside circle is called the radius. The distance across, so the total distance across the circle through the center is called the diameter. So the diameter is twice the radius. The circumference of a circle is the distance around the circle. So the circumference is from here all the way around the distance of it right there. The circumference of a circle can be calculated two different ways. The circumference is equal to pi times the diameter. And of course, pi is approximately 3.14. And now that goes on forever. But we're going to use either 3.14 or we can use the pi button on the calculator. If you use the pi button on the calculator, you're going to always come up with pretty close to the exact answer. If you round your pi to 3.14, you might not come up with exactly the same answer. Okay, so, or you can say 2 pi r. Because the diameter is the same as twice the radius, so the diameter is 2r. That's why you could use 2 pi r as the circumference. Find the circumference of the circle. Since they give us the radius, we're going to use 2 pi r, which is 2 times pi times 4, or 8 pi. So then we go 8 times either 3.14, which is approximately, or 8 times pi, which is approximately. So I'm going to do both for you so you can see how to get the different answers. Again, they're not always going to be the same. They're going to be close, but not necessarily identical. So if I go ahead and say 8 times 3.14, I end up with 25.12. And of course, that is a distance because it's a distance around the circle, so it's just inches, not inches squared. If I type in 8 times pi, I get 25.1327 inches. So you can see that they're not always identical, but they're pretty close to being the same. If you use 3.14, that's going to be different than if you use pi button on your calculator. Okay, try these and see how you do. Real quickly, number 3 gives you diameter instead of radius, so just make sure you understand that. So try this, pause the video, and come back and I'll go over it. Okay, welcome back. So we know that C is equal to 2 pi r, which is 2 pi times 6, which is 12 pi. All I did was multiply the 2 times 6. So this is approximately, if I use 12 times the pi button, I get 37.70 centimeters. If I use 3.14, I get 12 times 3.14, which is 37.68. So there you go. That's why it makes a difference. 2 pi times 9, which is 18 pi. So C is approximately, I'll just use the pi button, 18 times pi, and I get 56.55 feet. And then 16, C is equal to D times pi, or 16 pi. And again, I'll just use the pi button, 50.27 inches. All right, the area of a circle is pi times the radius squared. This time you're not multiplying the radius times 2, you are squaring the radius. And don't forget your units are in units squared because it's area. So this one, area is equal to pi times r squared. So pi times 7 squared is 49 pi, which is approximately, and I'm going to use the pi button again, 49 times pi, I get 153.94. Now I'm going to go over this 0.93804, but why I said 153.94 is because I rounded the 3 up to 4, because the next number is 5 or bigger. So whenever the next number is 5 or larger, you round that number up to the next one. Squared. Find the radius. This time we are given the area, so A equals pi r squared. We have 380 equals pi r squared. So now we are looking for the radius. So I'm going to divide by pi first. So r squared is approximately 380 divided by pi is 1,193.8052. Then this is how you find the radius. You take the square root of both sides. So r is equal to, so I take the square root of that, and I get 34.55. And that would be feet. Something's not right here. I did something wrong. Oh, I multiplied by pi instead of divided by pi, because that didn't make sense to me. That was too big of a number. So I realized that something was wrong, and so I need to fix that. So when I get r squared equals 380 divided by pi, I didn't catch it at first, but I accidentally multiplied by pi. So let me start over here. 380 divided by pi is 120.96. Now I take the square root of that, and it's 10.99, so approximately 11 feet. This was incorrect. So always double check your answers, and I did that at the end and I caught it. Okay, let's try the next one. You try these and we'll come back and check to see your work. Okay, welcome back. A equals pi r squared. A equals pi times 8 squared, which of course is 64 pi. and then you can multiply that and get an approximate answer. Hopefully you did that, and you get 64 times pi is 201.06 inches squared. This one is pi times 3 squared, which is 9 pi, which is approximately 9 times pi is 28.27 centimeters squared. This one we have to divide the 12 by 2 because we have the diameter, but you don't put the diameter in, you put the radius in. So area is pi times 6 squared, or 36 pi, which is approximately 113.1 feet squared. All right, now we move on to the last part of this, and that's the part where you're actually finding the area of just a piece of the circle, or a pie-shaped piece of the circle. It's called a sector. The sector is just a portion of it. It's a fraction. Well, what fraction of the circle is it? And we know a circle has 360 degrees. So if I rotated this all the way around, it's 360 degrees. If I rotated just part way, let's say I rotated this to here, then it's whatever that degree is out of, so the fraction is x out of 360. It's that fraction. So to find the area of that piece, that area of the sector over the area of the entire circle is equal to this fraction. Okay? So that's how you do it. You set up a proportion. So let's do this and show you. So the area of the sector over the area of the whole circle equals the degree of the sector over 360. So if I'm looking for the area of this, I don't know what that is, but I do know the area of the whole circle is 9 squared times pi, or pi r squared. The degree of the sector is 120 out of 360. So therefore, we should be able to solve that proportion and get the area of the sector. So x over 81 pi is 254.5 equals 120 over 360 is the same as 1/3. So I multiply 254.5 times 1 divided by 3. So I take that and I divide by 3. I get 84.8. So the area of the sector is 84.8 meters squared. It's 84.8 meters squared. Okay, so here we've got the area of the full circle is 22. Let's see, make sure we've got, it says A represents the area of the entire circle, okay? Is 22. We don't know this. We know the degree of the sector is 180 divided by 360. So x is equal to 22 times 180 divided by 360. So x is approximately, so I have to do that on the calculator, 22 times 180 divided by 360 is 11 meters squared. This time we put the 170 on the top, the 28 on the bottom, and we cross multiply that. Find the area of the blue section. So basically we do the same thing. We've got the area of the whole thing is 4 pi. The area of the sector we don't know is equal to 60 over 360. And then you cross multiply 60 times 4 pi and divide by 360. This one, you've got the area of the whole thing is 25 pi. We don't know the area of the sector, but we know it's 90 over 360. Again, just cross multiply. This one is x over 36 pi, which is 135 over 360. So that's all you do, is you just set up that proportion. And that's it for this chapter.